This conference will now be recorded.
Hello students, I'm Dr. Divya from TeenEinstein. So now we are learning about microorganism, friend and foe, which is the second chapter in 8th biology, and this is second part. So in this chapter mainly we are learning about the microorganisms and where these microorganisms are living, and microorganism and us, how microorganisms are useful or how they are harmful, how they are becoming harmful to us. Then food preservation, the nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycles. These are the nitrogen cycle. That is, separately we are learning about nitrogen cycle and about nitrogen fixation. So all these are the main topics of this chapter. And here in the previous part, in the first part, we have learned that uh, around us you can see several plants and animals, right? So along with that, there are so many other living organisms around us which we cannot see. See, like plants and animals, there are so many other organisms which are microorganisms around us. So these microorganisms, these are not visible. Okay, like plants and animals, microorganisms are also living around us and which are not visible. Okay, so normally we are saying we cannot see this microorganism. That's why they are called as microorganisms or microbes. They are otherwise called as microbes. Okay, so these microorganisms or microbes, they are the minute or very small organisms which are invisible, which are not visible for this naked eyes. See, like we said about this on bread surface and all, they'll get some spots or patches which can be visible through the magnifying glasses, right? So those kind of organisms, they are called as microorganisms. Okay, and where and all you can see this microorganism, you can see this microorganism in water, in soil and in air. Everywhere you can see this microbes, right? In water it will be there, air it will be there, and in soil also you can see microbes are present, right? So the observation shows that water and the soil, that is full of this kind of tiny organisms, and these category of organisms are called as the microbes. Okay, so these microorganisms are, or microbes we can say, these are small size organism. They are small size, right? And not only small size, we cannot see with naked eyes. It's not visible with naked eyes. But here we said about the fungus which is growing on Which one? Bread. So that and all visible one with the magnifying glasses we can see this, that other some other microorganisms are there which we cannot see without the help of a microscope. That's why they are called as microorganisms or microbes. So with naked eyes it will not be visible. That's why they are called as microorganism or microbes. And these microorganisms, they are classified into groups. Okay, four major groups are there of microorganisms. So microorganisms are grouped into four major groups, which are the bacteria, then fungi, protozoa, and algae. So microorganisms are grouped into four major groups: bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. Okay. And we said about one more type of microorganism which are very microscopic, but they are different from other microorganisms. Which are they? We are saying about viruses. So this virus, this is also a microorganism, but it is different from other microorganism. Why we are saying viruses are different from other microscopic organisms? Because when they are entering inside the host cell, or when they are able to enter inside the body of a of an organism, or when it is entering into other cell, then only it will become in a working condition. Okay, so they when these viruses, this is also microorganism, but it is different from other microbes. This is the main point you need to write down while writing about viruses. It is different from other microbes. Why? And how come it is becoming different from other microorganisms? That's what the reason we need to justify this sentence. Different from other microbes. Why we are saying? See, other microorganism, they can work inside the host body as such, or they can reproduce as such. See, this viruses, until and unless entering into a host body, it will not be able to work. Okay, so these viruses will reproduce only inside the cell of host organism. They will reproduce only inside host cell, or when it is entering to the cell of the host organism, then only it will be able to work or reproduce. Okay, so that may be a bacteria cell or plant cell or animal cell, whatever may be, whenever it is entering to the cell or into a host body, then only it can work. And that host may be maybe a bacteria or plant or animal. Okay, so without entering to the body of a host organism, it cannot work. Until and unless entering, it cannot work. So like some diseases which is caused by this virus that we can tell, like cough, then cold, influenza, influenza, or we can call it as flu. So all these, most coughs and cold, that is caused by viruses. Then some other serious diseases are there, which is that serious diseases like chicken pox and polio. All these are some serious diseases caused by viruses. Then we said this is only about virus, right? What about the other organism? Like we said, other organisms like fungi, bacteria, and all. So here, protozoa also we mentioned, right? Protozoa that causes malaria, dysentery, malaria, then dysentery. These are caused by protozoa or protozoans. Then bacterial diseases. Bacteria causes diseases like TB, then typhoid, and TB, tuberculosis. TB is tuberculosis. So that is caused by bacteria. And where these microorganisms are living, we know that this microorganism that may be single cell microorganism or um, multicellular, right? So microorganism may be single celled or multicellular. Single cell like bacteria, or then some algae, some protozoa, all these are there. Some algae, protozoa, and multicellular. Many algae are there. Multicellular algae are there. Then fungi. So we can say that these microorganisms, they are living in all type of environment ranging from cold climate to hot climate. So microorganism, some may be depending upon the other organism for their life, and some may be having free living forms. Okay, so microorganisms are of different type. They can live in different climatic conditions. They may be single cell or multicellular condition, and they can live in different conditions. It depends upon the microorganism. And some microorganism, they are living on other microorganism, and some are living in extremely free way. Okay, so all these things you have to keep in mind while learning about microorganism. Then see, let's see, where do these microorganisms live? Microorganisms live. This is a question where these microorganisms are living. And we know that the first form of life which is to develop on earth were single celled microorganism. First developed one. First developed life or living form, that was a single celled microorganism, right? Single celled microorganism, isn't it? So these organisms are so small, and they are visible only through a microscope. So all these organisms, so small organisms, microorganisms, that was the first um, life which is developed on this earth. And these microorganisms, they were so small. And why we are saying microorganism? Because they are very small. So thus microorganisms are small, and only with the help of microscope it is visible. And these microorganisms, sometimes they will exist as single cell. Sometimes as single cell they exist, and sometimes you can see they are existing as a cluster of cells, sometimes as clusters that will exist. Okay, cluster of cells, it will exist as cluster of cells, and sometimes it will exist as single cell. Okay, so here 1665 and 1683, during this period two biologists, just to know how we started learning about the microorganism, I'm saying all these things. So in between 1665 to 1683, in between that, two biologists from the Royal Society, who were the two biologists, Robert Hooke and Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Okay, they discovered the existence of microorganism. Robert Hooke and Anton van Leeuwenhoek, they discovered the existence of microorganisms. So all unicellular organisms like protozoa and bacteria and some other algae, all these are coming under the category of microorganism. And in this you can see large diversity. In microorganism itself you can see large diversity. Okay, and this microorganism you can find everywhere. This will be present everywhere. Okay, see, you can't imagine in which and all corner where we will be thinking like, okay, here it won't be present, but each and every corner it will be present, and in every nook and corner which you can imagine, there it will be present. So you can expect on the table, on the roof, and even in our body parts, uh, in our hands, everywhere, literally we can say everywhere it will be present. Okay, so they'll be able to live in extreme conditions also. Some selected ones, they'll be able to live in extreme weather condition also. Selected microorganisms can live. Some microorganisms will be adapted for that conditions, like ice cold water bodies or hot boilers and poles, desert. So they'll be having such kind of adaptation to live in such condition. So they'll be able to live, and they'll be having the adaptations according to the conditions. Okay, so now we are going to learn in detail about the microorganisms. Okay, what these microorganisms have, or how these microorganisms are, that's what we are going to learn now in this part. So here, microorganism and us, a role of microorganism. Role of microorganism, about that we are going to learn here. See, actually these microorganisms are integral part of our life. Microorganisms are integral part of our life, and some microorganisms are harmful and some are beneficial. So here it's an integral part, and we can say that some microorganisms are harmful and some microorganisms are beneficial. Okay, some are beneficial to man and some are harmful. Okay, so some of the microorganisms which are beneficial, first we'll see the friendly microorganism or beneficial microorganism. Okay, so first let's see friendly or beneficial microorganisms. Okay, so let's see which are all the beneficial or friendly microorganisms. See, microorganisms which are being used for many purposes. Okay, so this microorganisms, beneficial microorganisms are used for many purposes. Microbes are used for many purposes. And we know that these microbes are used in the production of alcohol, right? For the production of alcohol, right? And in the preparation of cake. Then next, another purposes in cake preparation. Then for bread preparation. Then for curd. All these preparations of cake, bread, curd, and all these microorganisms have been used. So apart from this, some microbes are helping to clean up the environment. Some microbes like bacteria, they are helping for cleaning environment. So some microorganisms are helping for the cleaning of environment, like some bacteria, and these they are used for some applications or for some purposes. Some bacteria or some microorganisms, they are used for cleaning. So in cleaning, what and all, for what and all purposes or what and all applications, in what and all applications they have been used. First thing is they used in the preparation of medicines. Some bacteria they're used for cleaning, and some bacteria they are used in the preparation of medicines. So these are the application. In application level, how it is used, you can write they are used for cleaning purposes, and some are used for the preparation of medicine. And some microorganisms, especially in the case of bacteria, we are saying some bacteria they are used in the breaking down of organic waste into reusable substances, which, and these substances are harmless. Organic breakdown of reusable substances. And they are harmless. Okay. And in the preparation of medicine, they are used. Then for soil fertility, some bacteria has been used, especially in the case of nitrogen fixation. Okay, so that increases the soil fertility, and by increasing the nitrogen fixation, that increases the soil fertility. So for increasing the soil fertility and for helping such things, microorganisms have been used. Then so this is the answer for one question, the applications of bacteria or microbes. Generally, if microbes, if they're asking for microbes, you can give this examples. And especially if they are asking for bacteria, you need to give this answer. So bacteria which are useful for cleaning, and the bacteria which are used in the preparation of some medicines, then organic breakdown of reusable substances, which are harmless. In that also, bacterial application is there. And for increasing the soil fertility, especially in the case of nitrogen fixation, there also we are using bacteria. Okay, and we can say that in the preparation of alcohol, and in the production of alcohol, and the preparation of bread, curd, cake, in all these, we are using which one? These microorganisms, especially bacteria, we are using. And they are also used for some applications like preparation of medicine, and for nitrogen fixation, or to increase the soil fertility, you can write. And to help in the breakdown of organic waste into reusable substances. Okay, so these are the points which you need to mention while writing about the microbes or friendly microorganism. And especially if they're asking about bacteria, you can give all these points. Okay, so first we'll learn making of curd and bread. Making of curd and bread. Okay, so we know that everybody knows how curd is obtaining. So curd, that is made from milk, right? So curd is made from milk by the action of bacteria on milk. Action of bacteria on milk. So curd is obtained by the action of bacteria on milk. So which bacteria is helping for this process of making milk into curd? The bacterium which is called as lactobacillus. Lactobacillus, which is present in milk, that is promoting the formation of curd by multiplying in the milk. Lacto means this word lacto, that is related to, this word is related to milk. Okay, and bacillus, that is showing the shape of that bacteria. Okay, so here lactobacillus, which is present in milk, that is a bacteria which is present in milk, that is helping to make the milk into curd, because these bacteria will multiply, and that is promoting the formation of curd by multiplying inside, um, and that forms the formation of curd. Okay, so here lactobacillus multiplies, and that makes milk into curd, that multiplication of lactobacillus bacteria that is making the milk into curd. Okay, and the bacteria which are involved in the making of pickle, then cheese, and bacteria which are important in the fermentation of dosa batter. This batter, uh, dosa and idli batter, in that also you can see bacteria. Those are involved in cheese making, then pickle making, then for the preparation of batter. In this batter, it helps, these bacteria are helping for the fermentation process. Okay, they're helping for the fermentation of batter, idli batter, dosa batter, and all. Okay, and here, see, this yeast, that is mainly used in the baking industry. Used in one, this yeast will reproduce continuously, and here, during reproduction, they'll respire. Continuous respiration will take place, and as a result of that reproduction and respiration, they'll produce carbon dioxide that will produce, and as a result of this carbon dioxide production, the dough increases in size due to the bubble formation. When carbon dioxide getting produced, bubble formation takes place in batter, and due to that, the dough size increases. Dough volume will increase, right? So here, in pastry, in cake, and all, in the especially we can say in the baking industry, it is used widely. Which one? Yeast. It's mainly used in the baking industry. And how it's being, or why it is being used like that? Because it will reproduce continuously, and for that will respire. So in that reproduction time and respiration time, that will produce carbon dioxide, and as a result of that carbon dioxide production, the dough size will increase, bubbles will form, and that bubble formation will make the dough to increase the volume. Okay, so that's how yeast is working. Okay, then the commercial use of microorganisms, we need to learn the commercial use. So the commercial use, one is alcohol production. Here, these microorganisms like yeast and yeast like microorganism, they are used on natural sugars to produce alcohol. They're used on natural sugars. for the production of alcohol. That helps in the production of alcohol. Then wine production, then vinegar production. For large scale production, yeast or uh, microorganisms like yeast, they have been used on natural sugars to produce wine, vinegar, alcohol and all in large scale. Okay. So what is fermentation? Fermentation means that is a process to convert sugar into alcohol. Process of converting sugar into alcohol. So the process of converting sugar into alcohol, that is called as fermentation. This is a very important question. Fermentation, process of converting sugar into alcohol, that is called as fermentation. And yeast is the main part in the fermentation. This here, which microorganism is taking part? Yeast. Yeast is taking part in the fermentation. Okay, so yeast is helping for the fermentation. So microorganism like yeast, they are grown on natural sugars to produce vinegar, alcohol, wine and all in large scale. And the process of converting sugar into alcohol, that is called as fermentation, and yeast is working in this uh, fermentation process. So that is converting sugar into alcohol. Then we need to learn about the medicinal use of microorganism. Medicinal use of microorganisms. Actually, this microorganisms, these microorganisms are the primary source of making antibiotics. Primary source of antibiotic production. Okay, so microorganisms are the primary source of making antibiotics, and these antibiotics, what are antibiotics? They are the medicines that stop or that is inhibiting the growth of disease-causing microorganisms. So antibiotic means we can't say that it's like a medicine, but it is a medicine. That's a medicine which is helping to stop the growth or which is inhibiting the growth of disease-causing microorganism, which is helping to stop or to inhibit the growth and reproduction of disease causing microorganism. So if you're consulting a doctor, sometimes they'll prescribe the antibiotics. Why they are giving antibiotics? Antibiotics are the medicines which are having the power to stop or to inhibit the growth of that particular disease causing microorganism. That can stop the growth and they can stop the reproduction of the disease causing microorganism. If the disease causing microorganism is reproducing or it is growing, means what will happen? The severity of the disease will increase. So to prevent that, sometimes doctors will prescribe antibiotics, which are the medicines which is having the capacity or which is having the power to stop or inhibit the growth of reproduction of the it is having the power to stop the growth and reproduction of that disease causing microorganism. Okay, so antibiotics are the medicines that stop or inhibit the growth of disease causing microorganisms. And this antibiotics that is produced by growing many bacteria and fungi which are used to treat so many diseases. Okay, so antibiotics, they're produced by growing bacteria or fungi. Okay, so that's how with antibiotics we can treat several diseases, and some main antibiotics we can say uh, streptomycin, streptomycin, then erythromycin, then amoxicillin. These are the main antibiotics, and these antibiotics, how they are produced? They are produced by growing bacteria or fungi. Okay, so main antibiotics are erythromycin, amoxicillin, and streptomycin. These are the main or important few important antibiotics. Okay, and in animals, these antibiotics are used to check the microbial infection. In animals, antibiotics so to control the disease in plants also some antibiotics have been used. So that is what antibiotics. So antibiotics or medicinal use of microorganism, we can say that they are this antibiotics or the microorganisms, they are primarily used for making antibiotics. That is a main usage of this microorganism. Mainly it is used for producing antibiotics. In the case of medicinal use of microorganism, I'm saying mainly it is used for making the antibiotics. And what are antibiotics? Antibiotics are the medicines which are stopping or which are having the capacity to inhibit the growth of that disease causing microorganism. Okay, so it is working against a particular disease causing microorganism. It is having the capacity to stop the growth of that disease causing microorganism, or it can control the reproduction of that disease causing microorganism, so that the severity of disease will not increase. Okay, and this, how these antibiotics are produced? They are produced by growing many fungi and bacteria which are used to treat so many diseases. So for example, we can say some antibiotics, amoxicillin, streptomycin, erythromycin, these are the main antibiotics which are used. And in animals also these antibiotics have been used, that is for checking the microbial infection. Okay, and in plants also for disease control some antibiotics have been used. So these are the medicinal use of microorganism, mainly for the preparation of antibiotics. Clear? So here in the second part we have learned about where do these microorganisms are living, and uh, role microorganism and us. In that role of microorganism, that is friendly microorganisms are there, and how to make friendly microorganism means they're the useful microorganism which is having many roles. And for making curd, bread and all, we are using microorganisms. Then the commercial use of microorganisms we have discussed, and the medicinal use of microorganism also we have discussed. Medicinal use mainly in the case of antibiotics, and commercial use, that is yeast, that and all used. Yeast is also microorganism which is used for the production of alcohol, then vinegar, wine and all in large scale. Then mainly it is used for fermentation process. These microorganisms are used for fermentation process, which is converting sugar into alcohol, and yeast is the part of fermentation. Okay, then the medicinal use. When we are going to the medicinal use of microorganism, there mainly one thing which we need to mention, that is the production of antibiotics, which are the medicines. Antibiotics are the medicines which is helping to stop or inhibit the growth of disease causing microorganism. And some important antibiotics, example for important antibiotics: streptomycin, erythromycin, amoxicillin. Okay, and in animals and plants, in there also for disease control, we are using this antibiotics. These are the main points which you have to learn from part 2, especially role of microorganisms, so where these microorganisms are living and what uh, role it is playing, the microorganisms are playing in microorganism and us. Under that topic, the role of microorganism, that is a medicinal usage and friendly microorganism. For both we need to, with the example, we need to write in which stage or what condition we are using these microorganisms, and how we are making this for commercial usage and medicinal usage. Everything you need to mention. Okay. And the next part, in part 3, we'll be learning about vaccines. Okay, we need to learn about vaccines and how these vaccines are working. Everything we need to learn. So that we'll learn in the next part, part 3. Thank you.